Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for probably the last chapter of the year for Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona of the Dawn. Yona of the Dawn, chapter 265, with a quick note from Project Vinland, who does the great translations and scans for us all, so we can enjoy this manga, in so many other countries in the world, right, and online. They're saying that they had a quick note at the beginning of this chapter that I just want to acknowledge, saying that recently the bookstores have been receiving the magazine later and later, the one that has, of course, Akatsuki no Yona in it, and it gives them far less time to work on the chapters, and this leads to time crunches and rushing, and they want to provide, just for quality control purposes, they're just going to be later. That's all they're basically saying here. It's like, we want to bring this to you in the highest possible quality. We will be taking things slower going forward because you don't want to rush, you don't want time crunches, and you don't want to not enjoy what you're doing. This happened with one of the big groups that did Record of Ragnarok when they finally just gave it up around round 6, I believe. And so I'm just grateful that they're coming out right now and just saying, look, we know you guys love this series, and that's fantastic, but since the stores are more limited and with their delays in their stock, we also, as a result, are also going to be delayed, even more so. So, quality control, that's all they're saying. Just to appreciate Project Vinland for all their hard work. And, yeah. So anyways, now that that's been acknowledged, let's move on to this chapter, because there's a few things I want to talk about in this chapter. Overall, it's very cut and dry. It's a very cut and dry chapter. It's a good chapter, but it's a very cut and dry chapter. Of course, Zeno is just completely shocked by this revelation that the Dragon Warriors will finally become human again and be sent back to Earth, and he's just wondering what changed in the last 5 minutes, and that's when the Dragon God says, we have heard the wish of the Crimson Dragon King, and, they will, so that's what we're going to do, right? And he's just trying to figure it out, wait, so the Mist wished for us all to be yada yada yada, and then putting it all together, and then immediately just remarks, what about the Mist? What about Yona? And they're like, no, Crimson Dragon is finally back in the heavens. The Crimson Dragon is ours. They will not leave. She will not leave. And just goes on the same thing. Once again, I am holding down, even though the Dragon God, or gods, at this point, is doing something very... Obviously, they are the antagonists right now to our main cast, to our main characters and such. But once again, the Crimson Dragon, we don't know the full details. This is the causality. This is the reaction. This is the effect of a cause created by the Crimson Dragon King. And I'm under the impression the original, like before King Hiryu, I mean the one that was in the heavens the first time, created this turmoil with obviously no responsibility or accountability for what their decision was going to do. And it's clearly warped these otherwise, I'm sure, very passive dragon gods, right? These very, I mean, I don't know what they were like before, but right now they are so twisted up, and their love, which it honestly was, their love for the Crimson Dragon King has now turned into unhealthy obsession. Very fine line to walk between love and obsession. Jealousy, possession, that kind of idea. So they have gone over to the dark side of basically adoration and love. And it's turned into obsession and possessiveness. And the fact of the matter is that we can lay all of that at the feet of the original Dragon King. However, here, of course, we're just following the same idea that these guys just don't get it. They're like, listen, we have been waiting, you think 2,000 years on your end was long. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, yeah, you are but a fragment of a few millennia of waiting. We didn't want to let him or her, whatever, king, so I'm going to go with him, go the first time. And that's very, they loved and wanted to be around him so much that they literally gave some of their blood and created the Dragon Warriors in the first place, because they were so attached that they could not leave the Crimson Dragon alone. So, in this regard, as I said, yes, they're currently evil, but it's a reaction. It's a causality. So, I'm just like, it's hard for me to be like, listen, they finally got what they wanted after waiting thousands of years, and they're just like, no, listen, whatever, we will do anything else, but we finally got her here, we're keeping her, and it's hard to argue with that, in all honesty. It's kind of hard to argue that point, so, that's all I'm saying. So they go on to say, like, your role is no longer needed, the Dragon Warriors are no longer needed, since the Dragon King will not be returning to Earth, just going to stay up here in the heavens with us, we have no more use for you. So this is where Zeno continues to ask questions, to say, what are you saying, taken to the heavens? She has more time left to live. She has more, to do. And that's when, of course, immediately they mock Zeno, or this dragon god mocks Zeno, and like, look who's talking. Your affection for the Crimson Dragon stems from only our blood. Once you're human again, you won't feel anything anymore. You know what I mean? Because Zeno's like, no, I'm taking the little miss back with me. And they're like, so this, of course, is and this has been done many times in fiction, where gods aren't acting human or emotional because, once again, they're gods. This is the separation. A lot of the times, and I find it can work, I'm not saying it can't work, but a lot of the time I find this whole idea of otherworldly beings, or gods that they act humane, but they're not human. There's like, you're so inhuman, you're so emotionally detached stuff. It's like, well, what did you expect? These are human emotions. We apply our very emotional states, both our negative emotions and our positive emotions. Love, anger, jealousy, kindness, compassion. These are all human emotions. Why are you expecting the same logic or the same emotions from a different being altogether, from a god? And that's what we're seeing right here, is that they can't contemplate the idea, and it's very apparent in this line. They aren't contemplating the idea that the Dragon Warriors are their own people. Like, once they're sent back without their powers, they're still going to love Hawk, Yona, you know what I mean? They're still going to love each other. Just because they're not connected by blood anymore does not mean that those feelings go away. The Dragon God here is obviously cannot comprehend that fact and thinks, our blood is the only reason you care at all. Which is obviously not true. It's the reason for the pull towards her, but it's not the reason why they love her. And they can't understand that concept, especially in their twisted state that they currently are. Maybe they could have before, thousands of years ago, but at this stage they certainly can't. I don't know if they ever could, because once again, they aren't contemplating. And I like when sometimes when gods or ethereal beings are written to this point, that it's not callousness, it's not evil. It's that you are applying your human logic to a non-human entity and expecting human results, kind of on you. Like, why are you expecting compassion, a human emotion? Why are you expecting a god to act like a human, and then criticizing it when it's not? It's like, so the hypocrisy there is always, but I always like sometimes when they write gods like this that don't act human. And it's not because they despise humans or hate humans. They just, we don't have human emotion. Like, that's not part of us. We're different from you. We're either more complex or more simple. But either way, that's not something that we, that works in their heads and their hearts and what have you. So I do like that aspect of this chapter, showcasing them as the more detached gods than warmongering or fear-mongering god. I'm a god, and what happens on Earth, really, I don't care. I just want what I want, and then that's it. Everything else is sort of irrelevant in that regard. So I do like that aspect and stuff like that. So Zeno tries to argue this and stuff, but the dragon god just cuts him off at the pass and says, but you're different. We have not forgiven your blasphemous actions, so you are still going to go back to Earth. The bond between the Dragon Warriors will still be severed, but you will continue to be the last fragment on Earth, doomed to suffer alone for eternity. And the despair on Zeno's face, it's just, and you can feel it and stuff. His personal hell, the whole reason he did this blasphemous act in the first place, was to get out of that cycle of hell. And now he's about to be swallowed up by this, right? And this was your punishment and all that fun jazz. Now, this is where after the initial despair, he looks around himself, he sees the still sleeping jae-ha, Shina, and Kija, and it's like, but the others will finally be free. They will become humans again. You know what? Then that's fine. And I like that. Alright, he had his own personal despair and stuff, of course. And then initially said, well, that's a heavy price, but if it returns all of them finally without the suffering, like at least if I'm going to suffer, at least it was for something worthwhile, you know what I mean? So it's that sort of, and I like that aspect that Zeno initially is like, once again, still selfish and just like, oh Christ, that like his own personal hell is what the dragon gods are condemning him to. And then he's like, but at least this time around, because he suffered for 2,000 years, at least this time around, I got something out of it, right? So, but then he's still arguing, the miss has to still go. She only knows her life as Princess Yona. She's not your plaything. She's not your pet. She's not the Crimson Dragon King. She is Yona. You can't have her. And then it's just like, have you even bothered to look in and see how much she struggled and suffered? Like, you have to let her live her life. You have to let her go. And that's once again, the Dragon Gods, they're not here for a debate. This is not a law court. And they just, nope. And I think this is one of my favorite shots from the chapter, where initially, like, this black ooze, the swarm, the sea of blood is going to initially come up and take Zeno down, and Zeno tries to guard himself, and all of a sudden, vroom, Kija's hand snatched as it completely grabs him right out of the way, and they're like, oh, what? And Kija's like, It's like, I finally woke up because I couldn't stand to listen to this shit any longer, sort of idea. Are you the one who's making my brother suffer? I got so angry, I finally had to wake the hell up, and I'm like, yeah, alright, Kija. Alright, White Snake, let's do this. So this is where, of course, Shina, they all start to wake up. So Kija woke up first, saving Zeno. Shina woke up and just completely, and they keep saying the fake jae-ha. And jae-ha, of course, is the last one to wake up and just go, would you please not, and this is supposed to be a cool moment, please not address that as me. He doesn't look a thing like me at all, because of course, I'm jae-ha, like, that's an ugly blah 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 blah, and it's supposed to be not the literal doesn't look like me, it's clearly not me in every way, shape, or form. That thing's ugly, that thing's, it's that badass line. So many people have used that before, whenever a doppelganger shows up in anime or manga or something like that, it's always, that thing doesn't look a single thing like me. Even in TV shows, in the Lucifer TV show, when Michael tried to fake being Lucifer and stuff, Chloe immediately was like, who are you? Sort of idea, and it's like, there you go, it's like, what do you mean? And it's literally the same actor, it's Tom Ellis, but it's like, no, you're not him. So they try to have this cool moment, or jae-ha tries to have this cool moment, but Shina and Kija just deadpan, literal all the way, not getting it, not getting, the metaphoricalness of it all. It's like, no, he looks exactly like you, quite a bit. And then now jae-ha has to argue the logic. He goes, my face doesn't spin with swirls, guys. Like, what are you talking about? So anyways, they all wake up and stuff like that, and it seems like this is going to be a confident, like, we're all here moment, triumphant Pirates of the Caribbean music playing in the background, and they're all ready to go, the 4 dragons are here to beat down a god and stuff, and it's this really nice moment, because they're just like, been a while, well, nice to see you, yeah, what are we going to do, get Yona back, of course, and it's all, like, so matter-of-factly. I like that confidence, but I also I don't know if that was the right decision, because that was a really cool moment and immediately gets undercut by the fact that jae-ha starts sweating immediately while he looks at this thing. He goes, that's the host of our dragon blood. This is not going to be easy. And they're all sweating, just staring at this thing above the water sort of idea. Like, it was such a good, hey, we have a job to do and we're going to do it. Nothing's going to stop us. The level of confidence in the first panel immediately gets taken away. I don't like the whiplash of that personally. I think that was a bit of an error to make, because now it's like, well, why were you guys so badass literally 2 seconds ago, you know. And anyways, so the fight, so they actually do end up fighting. There's a fight that starts, so to speak. The black ooze, you know, or the sea or whatever you want to call it, starts coming out, the substance, and it starts trying to attack them and this, that, and the other thing. Of course, Kija's still holding on to Zeno and stuff, and they recognize that if this stuff touches us, it'll pull us down and pull us to the outside, which was the little Mrs. Wish and stuff like that, right? So we have to dodge this, as jae-ha puts. We have to continue to dodge this stuff, make it to that dragon god, rescue Yona, and escape outside. Tall order, yeah, right? So now immediately Shin-ha is like, I'm not fucking holding back here. And I did not expect this. I don't know about you guys, but I did not expect this. Shin-ha immediately activates his eyes, give Yona back, and it's this awesome panel. It's this beautiful scene of him just with the dragon coming out and stuff. And I'm like, oh, using the dragon powers against the dragon god. What's gonna happen? Immediately just touch, boom. Blind. Took his eyes from him because they're, of course, the dragon's eyes. So he took them. And he didn't get replaced with human eyes, like take the power. No. He blinded him. His eyes are gone. It's like, holy shit. And now things are bad. So Kija, of course, rushes in to attack. Immediately, the black ooze stuff. At first I thought it was blood. But I don't think it is. I think it's just finally that the of course, the white snake arm broke the surface of the water, and we're just seeing all the ooze of that black ooze on his hand. At first I thought it was blood, just the way it was handled, but then right away, before he's able to grab the dragon god, shink. That's 2 out of 2. Shin-ha lost his eyes, and Kija literally lost his powerful arm. He got his hand ripped off. And so now we're down 2 without even making it to the surface here. Dragon God just goes on, you 4 dragon warriors are nothing but mere droplet of our blood. Now get out. Are you hoping to get crushed here and now? If you leave now, you can still spend the rest of your lives in peace. And it's just like, holy shit, like everything's going nuts. Now Zeno brings up the option, look, I'm doomed either way. You guys get out of here. I will do whatever I can. I will get Yona back, but you guys have to leave. And they're just like, you seriously are going to get crushed. You can't take this away. It was, it was Yona's wish or whatever. And it says, no, it's like, it's better than all of us just dying here sort of idea, right? And jae-ha immediately says, if we go, he just has this line where he's like, if I'm going to go outside, I wish the dialogue was handled here better, in all honesty, because I can add the context. We can all add context to this, but I wish jae-ha had basically said, because the way it comes about is quite odd. It should be the way, if I left now, what's the difference? If I leave without succeeding and getting Yona back, having 2 legs doesn't matter. Being outside with 2 legs is irrelevant if we don't have Yona with us. You know what I mean? That's what's implied, but it's not. It's a little clunky on the dialogue, just saying if I'm going outside anyway, then maybe I'll have my leg torn off as well. It doesn't come across, you sort of have to read between the lines with that one, and that's when Kija basically says, I'm not going to let one missing arm stop me, and Shin-ha says, neither will I. That works because they literally just lost, their organs, like the eyes and the limb and stuff. jae-ha hasn't lost his leg yet, but it was just it just sounded weird, you know what I mean? Just the way it was written. But then Zeno goes on to basically say, like, come on, like, he's just trying to convince them, like, please, like, you are, because he's thinking, I'm doomed either way. You guys finally have a shot, and now you're losing limbs and organs and stuff, and you're going to have pain and suffering. The whole point of Yona's wish and my blasphemous actions was to literally try to free you, and now you guys are going to die here. You're going to get crushed here. Shin-ha finally speaks up, and usually when Shin-ha speaks and he's got a lot to say, it's usually very strong, and it's very strong here, where he says, I was able to see your face before I lost my sight, so that's enough. From the look in your eyes, I knew all I needed to know, so it's okay. and now I'll go on to protect Yona and the others for as long as I live. And what I like about this is that Shin-ah is basically saying he wanted to look Zeno in the eye one time to see like why he did what he did. He knows that Zeno didn't turn on them. He goes, I got to look you in the eye one time, and I know, and so I'm at peace with it. You know, it's his way of saying I forgive you and stuff. It's a little wordy, but unlike the kind of clunkiness of the whole, if I'm gonna go outside, I'm gonna have my leg torn off. This one works very strongly, very profoundly, and I like it. And I like that Shin-ah's just like, yeah, you know, like we're here. You know, we're all here and stuff like that. And jae-ha even says, this moment is like a gift, don't you think? We were finally able to meet again. Because for them, it's felt a lot longer, potentially. Like, we don't know how the time works in this realm and stuff, right? So, and the final page of the chapter is just Zeno, as they stare up at the dragon god that they have, is going to crush them. It's going to destroy them. I imagine this is where Yona awakens the Crimson Dragon powers and starts doing something, because they can't win otherwise, you know. But the final page is just, Zeno, you know, I was glad to be a part of the 4 dragons. And Zeno's last shot is just him starting the one tear. It's always the manly cry, what you refer to as the manly cry in any TV, manga, movies, whatever, is when you have the single tear come down the face, and they don't try to hide it. They hold their head up high, and you get one single tear. That is referred to, ladies and gentlemen, as the manly cry. Now, I don't usually manly cry. I snot and sneeze and cry like a 13-year-old girl. But badass people like Zeno have the manly cry. The manly cry, right? So this is a really nice thing, because of course they have pain and suffering. jae-ha, they've all suffered in their own ways. And the fact that they're just telling Zeno, you know, even through all this, I was really happy to be a part of this. You know, I was happy to be a dragon. And it's just like, that means so much to Zeno, where he had to watch generation after generation of them suffer and suffer and die and suffer and die and suffer. So he's just like, they must hate their existence so much, and the fact that this, you know, it's just very nice for Zeno at this moment. So yeah, overall the chapter was very very good. I like the pacing we're going on here. The art was good and stuff like that. As I said, I don't know how they're getting out of it unless Yona wakes the fuck up and says, alright, if I'm supposedly the Crimson Dragon King, then I'm in charge. I'm the king, and you will do as I fucking say, you know? So outside of that, I don't really know how they're gonna deal with this, but either way, that's it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always. And that was chapter 265 of Yona of the Dawn. Did you like it? Did you hate it? I don't think anybody's gonna hate on this chapter. It's, you know, at best, it was like, okay, chapter was alright. You know, at worst, that's, you know, probably most people's opinion who read the series. You know, maybe some people absolutely adored it. I think there were some really stellar moments. As I said, my only real critique is having them be so, we're going to do this no matter what. I don't care if we're facing the devil, a god, whatever. We're going to get the mist back. And there's just no, the matter-of-factly of the scene. And immediately it's like, oh no, we are way in over our heads. That kind of bothered me, because they were just standing on, you know, on airs sort of idea rather than... So that was my one critique, really, that kind of bothered me. And I said, the little clunky dialogue thing at the end, I mean, that's just more of a nitpick, but yeah. So, anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below, and we'll see you back here probably not until the new year, especially with the delays in the magazine anyways, for the next chapter, chapter 266 of Akatsuki no Yona. Look forward to it. Hope you guys are too. And if we don't see you for the new year, have a happy Christmas and have a happy New Year as well. I hope it was 2024 good for you. You know, it was my worst year of my life, but did you have a good year? And are you in the same boat as me? You didn't really have a good year, but you're looking towards 2025 to have a good year. You know, let me know that too, as I said, because I doubt we're gonna have another chapter until after January. So, anyways, let me know that in the comment section as well, and we'll see you guys back next time. Have a good one.